We love horror games, but some are scarier than others. The games in this video all tried to scare us, but failed horribly. Don't get us wrong, they're still good games and we enjoy playing them. However, they're about as scary as your overweight uncle in a white sheet pretending to be a ghost. Get ready for 10 horror games that are just not scary. The Dead Island series is pretty great. Who doesn't like to run around in an open world while hitting zombies in the head with a shovel? While there certainly are a few unsettling locations in the game, it just doesn't get that scary. Especially when you level up your weapons, it becomes a lot easier to fight the zombie horde.
That one's done!
We are still waiting on Dead Island 2, but that game has been in development hell for several years now. Let's hope we're finally able to play it one day. The first Dino Crisis had a few decent jump scares. It was basically Resident Evil with dinosaurs instead of zombies. However, they really took out everything that was scary in the sequel. Dino Crisis 2 focused more on action and fighting huge dinosaurs with heavy weapons. Sure, the massive T-Rex popped up every now and again, but we can't really say that he scared us. Dino Crisis 3 is even less scary, but we really don't want to talk about that game. Dinosaurs in space. What were they thinking?
Did you hear that, Zach? If they're pros, then we should let every first-person shooter gamer out there join the SWAT team.
Deadly Premonition is one of our favorite guilty pleasures. This game is terrible, but so much fun to play. However, don't play this game for its horror elements. The zombies aren't the slightest bit scary, and the clunky controls make it very hard to fight them.
Shot.
These sections play like a low-rent version of Resident Evil 4. You just want to get them over with as soon as possible so you can return to the mysterious story. Isn't that right, Zach?
I get where you're coming from.
Resident Evil kept moving away from its survival horror roots with every new entry in the series. By the time Resident Evil 6 came out, they simply turned it into an action franchise. The game focuses on spectacular moments which wouldn't be out of place in a summer blockbuster.
Give up, Ada! We got you!
Fans were very upset that the most popular survival horror series was no longer scary. Capcom listened, and as a result, Resident Evil 7 might be the scariest game in the entire series. We have a lot of respect for gamers who finished it with the PlayStation VR headset.
Hey, glad you came back for another night. I promise it'll be a lot more interesting this time.
The popularity of Five Nights at Freddy's took the world by storm. Developer Scott Cawthon kept pumping out new games and the YouTube community loved it. Every game relied on the same jump scare that was cheap but effective. This changed with Five Nights at Freddy's 3. The design of the animatronics was a lot less scary than previous games. They also just slowly entered the office instead of jumping in your face. Five Nights at Freddy 3 disappointed a lot of gamers.
Hi.
The Parasite Eve series was known for its survival horror gameplay. These games were all about saving ammunition and unexpected jump scares. However, that changed with the third birthday. This game for the PSP got rid of the scares and focused more on action. It seemed to be aimed at teenage boys, as damage would rip off clothes of the female protagonist. The game wasn't bad, but we certainly missed the horror the series was known for. And nobody can justify the secret shower ending you get for beating the game 50 times.
We're closing the breach, Arnold. You can either get out of the way or we can kill you here. I'm fine either way.
Clive Baker is a famous horror writer with a terrible game named after him. Clive Baker's Jericho is a piece of garbage full of bugs and glitches. This squad-based shooter is supposed to be scary, but it really isn't. The enemy design is pretty well done, but ruined by the horrible AI. They simply run at you while they pump them full of bullets.
Ross, company!
Your teammates also behave like idiots, making this game very frustrating to play. The only scary thing about Clive Baker's Jericho is the fact that the developers dared to release it to the public.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Oh, thank God.
Let's get inside this thing before I lose my nerve.
Dead Space defined the space horror genre when it came out in 2008. After an excellent sequel, EA slipped up with the launch of Dead Space 3 in 2013. The gameplay focused a lot more on action, which completely ruined the survival horror aspect of the series. It also had loads of microtransactions in its weapon crafting system. EA's attempt to target a larger audience by turning it into a generic shooter backfired, and it ended up being the worst-selling game in the series. While the game isn't terrible to play, it pretty much destroyed the franchise for good. If you're scared of zombies, you might want to try out the Dead Rising series. These games turn zombies into something you can have fun with. You can fight them with ridiculous weapons while wearing stupid-looking costumes. Dead Rising has always been about comedy instead of horror, and that's fine. However, the series sort of lost its way over the years. Dead Rising 3 and 4 weren't as great as the first two games. We really hope they continue making Dead Rising games, because we just can't get enough of Frank West. Fear is a great series that mixed horror with amazing gunplay. The first two games gave us a very scary story about a little girl with supernatural powers. It had lots of jump scares and tense moments that were absolutely nerve-wracking. This all ended with the release of Fear 3. This game focused a lot more on action and slow-motion gunplay. While the game wasn't bad, it missed the horror elements of the first two games. Fans did not like this new direction for the series, and it underperformed commercially. Such a shame, because Fear definitely had a lot going for it.
These are not the simple scrawls of madmen. They meant to be a message, I think.
Do you know any more games that want to be scary but really aren't? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.